time go?
Can somebody please tell me where that last month went, because I've got no clue. G'day guys, I'm Clayton and this is Workbench Hobbies, and like I did last month, I'm going to have a look at the new releases from January in the hope that I might show you something that you missed or something that might be of interest to you. And like I said in the last video, please be mindful I am predominantly an armour modeler, but there could be a few surprises in there for you today, so stick with me. Airfix hit us with the Mark II Ferret earlier last year. So now I guess it's only logical they're going to bring out the Mark I. Now, the last release of the Ferret copped a little bit of criticism for its overly thick parts and things like that, and I'm sure this one's going to be similar. But this Mark I, for me, has some sort of appeal because Australia operated the Ferrets, and they were widely operated actually, and this boxing comes with 3 schemes, so I've got my fingers crossed that one of them may be an Australian scheme. Next up is the Tesla tank from Border Models, and it's a case of if you know, you know. I spent hours playing this video game as a younger man, Command and Conquer, and I guess it was very popular, and I guess it's a way for getting that nostalgic dollar, if you like, people going back and reliving that game and some of the vehicles and whatnot. Border have released other vehicles from this game, so I guess it's only natural this one would come out. And it might present a really cool challenge trying to make those lightning bolts and electricity coming off the ends of that turret. So that's why that one came in at number 9. Adding lights to a model is something I'd like to try this year, but always stop short when it comes time. And the next release that's coming in at number 8 for me is from Magic Scale Modeling, a company that's news to me. But they're releasing lighting kits for 32nd scale aircraft. And I know people have been using the Light My Bricks kits and whatnot to light their models, which I think is awesome. But these new releases are going to be dedicated to actual models. But the one that I'm picking for my number 8 is the street lights, because I could see so many applications for them, and it seems like a really soft entry for me into the world of lighting your scale models. So that's why that one came in at number 8. Gecko Models bring us a left of center release here with the Vietnam style pop-up shop in the back of a shipping container. It looks like a really interesting release, and I'm sure is more or less a diorama in a box. It's got the figure, it's got the dog, it's got the shelves. It's one of those things, if you could pair it with some vehicles, like I said, it's going to be a diorama in a box, and I think it's a really cool release. And Gecko seem to be working around that Vietnam era, which is super fine with me, because for such a long time Vietnam era stuff was quite difficult to get at least any variety with. So congratulations to Gecko for this release, and that's my number 7. 16th scale is certainly the flavor of the month, and that's why this one's coming in at number 6, and it's the COL Model Zundapp. It's the motorbike, and I'm putting that in because COL Model made some beautiful upgrade sets for the Tamiya 35th scale sidecar. So if the quality of that is anything to go by, this 16th scale bike is going to be something special. And given the popularity of 16th scale kits, it's going to be really easy to pop that in on a display base, a vignette, a diorama, and just add that extra element to the scene. And that's why that one came in at number 6. Next up is a release from F&A Miniatures, and it's a Scammel Pioneer and trailer. But the exciting thing for me is the scale. It's 48th scale, which traditionally has been tougher to get some of these subjects in. So I really think F&A Miniatures are going to have a success with this release, because it's such a beautiful, interesting looking vehicle all by itself. Or of course you can use it, pose a tank on the back of the trailer and turn it into something extra special. So that's why that one's coming in at number 5. Making these videos, I've realized I seem to have a bias for Italian armor. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's been the lack of availability of it in the past, but it's the golden age of modeling. So that's why this one's coming in at number 4. and it's an older Italeri kit, and I hear you all sigh, but I find the Italeri kits a really great foundation to build a model on. They're basic enough to get a decent result with a little bit of work. However, Italeri have re-released this Semovente M42 DA 7534, if that means anything to you. But they've released it with upgraded tracks, metal barrel, upgraded etch, new parts and things like that. And I've seen some of these re-releases that they've done, and they build into beautiful little models. So that considered, and my love of Italian armour, that's why this release comes in at number 4. Now, I promised some aircraft for you guys, so here you go. Here's the first one. It's the S3B Viking in 48 scale, and it's released by Trumpeter. I don't know what it is about this plane, but I absolutely love it. It's big, it's chunky, it's ugly as heck, but I think it is super cool. I think it might be a nostalgic thing for me because I had the old I think it was reboxed under AMT kit of this. Completely butchered it. I was young, but I've always had a soft spot for it, which is why that has made my list at number 3. Now, number 2 and number 1, I struggled so much to split them. So take it for what it's worth. If I could have 2 equal ones, I would, but someone's got to go first. But number 2, fresh on the back of his M113 release, Andy's Hobby Headquarters have announced another 16th scale release, and that is the M3A1 US Halftrack. It looks awesome. It's got a figure. You can build 2 configurations of that Halftrack. It's got an engine. It's going to be popular, this one, I'd say, and 16th scale, whilst I wouldn't say, well, actually I've never built anything in 16th scale, but this might tip me over the edge. To me, I re-released their 35th scale US Halftracks 18 months, 2 years ago, and they flew off the shelf. They're incredibly popular, so there is a lot of love for this subject, which is why I think this release is going to be an absolute winner, and it probably deserves to be number 1, but I'll call it my number 2 for today. And number 1 is from Lanmo Model, and it's the release, or the announcement at least, of their Italian armoured cars, the AB41, the AB40, and both kits can be complemented with an additional pack of an interior that will fit both of those models. Again, with the Italian armour, I don't know what it is. I seem to be showing my bias here, but this, for me, when I saw this released, was so exciting, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. They've got a lot of posable hatches and things like that, which should be able to complement and showcase that interior and engine. I mean, the engine just looks absolutely gorgeous. Lanmo Model, I don't know a lot about, but if the renders, if the plastic looks anything like the renders, we are in for a real treat with this one. Yes, I know Airfix just announced a whole heap of releases, and a lot of people were getting really excited about some of those. They just didn't really push my buttons, hence they haven't made my list, apart from the Ferret, of course. And I know Tamiya just announced the H39 in 35th scale with that controversial figure, but that's a conversation for another time. I think this subject is going to have a limited appeal, but it could be one of those kits that has that price point where it sort of means that you kind of have to add it to your stash. So I've no doubt it will end up in my stash. Again, I just couldn't get overly excited about this one. Thank you to the Modelling News, who give me the opportunity to look and review some of these kits. I truly appreciate it. And be sure to check in with that website regularly for all your latest hobby news. And of course, a big thank you to the team at Hyperscale for your continued support. Next week, I share my first resin pour that didn't go completely to plan. And I can tell you, I have got so many things on the bench at the moment. I can't wait to bring them to you. If you wanted to connect in a bit more, you can join up on the Facebook page, or of course you can come and join the community we're building over on Patreon. It's free to join, and once you're there, you can select the tier that suits you best. But for the meantime, You know the drill. This is the greatest hobby in the world. Share it with your family and share it with your friends, and let's be proud of what we do. Until next time, I'll see you soon.
Well, I agree with half of that.
All right.